Is this Butterbean?
Speaking.
Hey, this is Dustin from the 5 Count. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
All right, man. Well, I'm here with my co-host Ton.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
That's good.
Sounds like you're on a boat or something. I don't know what.
This phone's screwed up sometimes.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, we'll ask you some questions here. First of all, about your boxing career. How exactly did you get started in that?
Well, I started a Toughman contest. It's a heck 20-something year ago. Started knocking people out, and pretty much they told me I couldn't fight Toughman no more, so I decided I'm going to start fighting professionally.
You were too tough for the Toughman.
I was too tough for the Toughman. I like that.
Whoa. Yeah, Ton was actually in the Toughman, but a quad injury took him out of the prelims, so.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
I fought one in my hometown. There was like 30 heavyweights signed up. When I signed out, all of them dropped out but one. And when I knocked him out, it was so bad. He was out for about 5 minutes. They pretty much made the decision, then they wouldn't let me fight anymore.
Wow. So what, like leading up to that in your life, I mean, what do you think is the secret behind the extreme knockout power?
I really don't know. I find a lot of fun fighting. I mean, to get paid and get to knock somebody out and not go to jail, that's a great job.
Mm-hmm. Were you kind of a rough kid? Like, did you get in a lot of fights growing up and stuff, or?
No, I really didn't. I mean, later on I did, but pretty much because my brother used to beat the crap out of me every other day. That'll toughen you up.
Yeah, I bet.
When you have a brother that's like 10 years older than you that used to beat the crap out of you every day, just for fun.
So do you beat him up now, or?
I could easily, but there's no sense. We get along pretty good.
Yeah. So in your boxing career, how long did you box professionally?
Well, I still box sometimes. I'm really picky and choosy where and who I fight for, but I still do box some. For over 20 years, I had almost 100 professional fights.
Yeah, you were the IBA champion at one time. Is that right?
I held the IBA, the WBA, and the WAA.
Okay.
World Athletic Association, the World Boxing Association, World Boxing Union, one of them. I won that when I was fighting in England.
And you boxed Larry Holmes not too long ago, right? Was that?
It's been a while back now, but yeah, I actually dropped Holmes in the 10th round.
Would you say that was probably the biggest guy that you fought, or?
He was one of the biggest names, probably.
Yeah.
If you want to count Peter McNeely, but I wouldn't really count him too much. It was less than a round. McNeely made a pretty big name for himself. Getting knocked out by Pizza and getting splattered by Tyson.
Yeah. Were you supposed to fight Tyson at one point, or were there talks of that?
There's been so much talk. I mean, there's been so many negotiations, and it's been close a couple times, and then so far away. And the bad thing is when Tyson come out of jail, he lost his chin. Tyson wasn't able to take a punch anymore.
Yeah.
And one thing they knew that I had was a punch. So after that, there was no way they was going to let him fight me.
Would you fight him today, publicly?
I'd love to fight Tyson today.
Call him out here on the show.
There's Tyson, when he was doing his little exhibition thing, they had him lined up at one of the fights, and then they threw my name at him. He said, "There's no way." And me and Mike, I've met Mike many times. We've hung out together. He's not a bad guy. I got no problems with Mike Tyson. He's like a 12-year-old trapped in a man's body. A phenomenally strong man's body on top of that, but he's when you grow up and you don't have no rules in life and you're given everything, you really don't know how to act all the time. But as far as a person, I got no problems with Mike.
You said you still box from time to time, but for the most part, you're finished with boxing professionally, right?
Well, I do a lot of kickboxing and MMA right now, so boxing's kind of put on the back burner right now.
Well, what kind of stuff are you doing in MMA?
Well, I've been fighting MMA for a long time now, a couple of years at least. I actually submitted Zulu on the last Pride show in Japan, which Zulu is Brazilian purple belt. He's probably 420, 6'8". He's fought pretty much everybody. Fedor, he's fought a lot of people.
Yeah, he's fought a lot of guys. So is that quite a bit more challenging then for you to to be doing this type of fighting rather than just being able to knock guys out like crazy, or does that come in handy once in a while?
It's a lot more challenging. It's a lot more difficult, I'll be honest with you. The main thing is there's so many more MMA fights out there than boxing. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying MMA is better. I'm just saying there's more opportunities for an MMA fighter to fight, especially if you got any kind of a name, than as a boxer. Boxing is pretty much at the lowest peak I've seen it in a long time.
Is that something you think you'll continue to do here for the rest of your career?
I got a couple more fights overseas that I've already got pre-booked. I'm fighting in Japan sometime in the next 3 or 4 months. There's talk of me going to Bulgaria and fighting. So there's a lot of different opportunities that I still got, that I got obligations to do. But other than that, I'm pretty much trying to slow down and retire from the fight game. I've been doing some other stuff. I'm working on a reality show right now I can't talk much about. But I'm doing a lot of different things right now.
And those MMA fights, is that still all with Pride?
Well, Pride got bought out by UFC a long time ago. I fought for K1. I fought for a lot of different other organizations.
But the fights that you have coming up?
K1.
Okay.
And then there's a company out of Bulgaria I'm working with.
We want to ask you a few questions. We're big professional wrestling fans, and you worked with McMahon and World Wrestling Entertainment for a few different matches.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with those guys?
Well, back, they worked the deal out. I was supposed to do like 10 different shows with them, and then Wrestlemania. And then Tyson got out of jail, and they put him in the Wrestlemania instead of me, because they knew there was at that point there was a big feud between me and Mike. I'd said a lot of things that kind of pissed Mike off, I reckon. And but then the following year, I knocked out Bart Gunn, which is big wrestler, but he also fights MMA. Knocked him out pretty bad, and it was a shoot fight. It was a real fight. People still they ask me, was that real or not? I said, if you can turn your head away all the way around almost backwards like he did, I don't care how hard you train, you just can't do it.
Everybody got injured in that thing when they had the boxing matches.
Yeah, Bart got probably the worst end of the deal. Well, I mean, my understanding made Vince mad, didn't want to take a dive when he was supposed to take a dive, and he got through in there with me then. That was his punishment.
And then you worked with Mark Merrill for a while there, too.
Mark Merrill's stable. That was a regular wrestling. I had a lot of fun doing it. And then, I went on to work with on the Hulk Hogan Celebrity Wrestling.
Okay.
And done real well at that. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Do you think the wrestling would be something you might be interested in the future if it came up again?
I've been doing wrestling for a while now. I mean, I've been doing matches here and there. Like I said, I'm really the wrestling game out there outside of Vince. I'm not going to say all the wrestling promoters are shady. I've come across a couple good ones, and I've been really fortunate. And I've been picking the really good wrestling promoters to work for. So if you do see me wrestle, you better go, because I don't do it that often, and I don't plan on doing it that often. Here and there, I do probably 5 matches a year. ICP I've worked for the last 3 years in a row. The ICP show, the Gathering of the Juggalos, a great show to go to. I mean, there's a lot of people there. And then there's only a couple other promoters that I will work with.
When you put everything together with the boxing and the MMA and the professional wrestling, which one do you think you would say would be more hard on the body or just more challenging?
I'll be honest, all of them are just as hard and challenging on the body. In its own different ways. From the wrestling to the MMA, it all has its toll. I mean, the wrestling, if you don't mess up and you do everything 100% correct, there's not a lot of damage. But guess what? Nobody can do that. There's a lot of bumps and bruises. The wrestlers, I don't know how they do it like they do. I'll be honest with you. That's what people don't understand. They're saying, it's all staged, it's all fake. There's a lot to it. A lot more to it than people can understand.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bumps and bruises and a lot of hard work, and you got to know what you're doing. Can
you elaborate a bit on how you got the nickname of Butterbean?
Well, when I first started my first tough man, I was like 420, and I had to get down to a 400-pound weight limit, and I worked at a mobile home plant. All the guys, put up the entry fee, and they already had paid it, so I had to get down to weight, or I'd disappoint, 400 or 500 people. And I went on a Butterbean. I ate Butterbeans and chicken for like 2 weeks. I lost the 20 pounds.
Whoa.
And, they knew I hated the Butterbeans. Butterbeans just got, filled you up, it got bland. I mean, really bland. So everybody started chanting Butterbean at the fight, and it just stuck.
So maybe we could see a Butterbean diet program or something in the future.
It has its bad side effects. I doubt it. Like on the meals ready to eat, it says not for pre-flight. There's a reason.
Okay.
I think we need like canned butter beans with your face on the can. That would be awesome.
There you go. And my wife's name is Libby. So Libby's label needs to get on top of that.
Yeah, they do. That's a shout out right there. So then, can I ask? You wear American flag trunks most of the time, right? Is that
Always.
inspired by Apollo Creed at all, or what's?
No, that a lot of the guys out there, they'll wear them now. Now that I started the whole thing, the reason I did it is the first the first World Toughman I went to was supposed to be people from all over the world, which it kind of was it really was more people across the U.S. But I wanted everybody to know in the world that, I was American and I was somebody to be reckoned with, and the American people are no joke, and we are people to be reckoned with. So that's why I wore the American flags, and I'm proud to be an American, and I wanted people to know it. So that's why I wore them.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
Now that the troops are in war, that they understand. He is proud to be an American, and that's that's part of the whole thing. I wanted everybody out there in the world to know that Americans are nobody to be messing with, and I'm proud to be an American, and that's why I've worn them all these years.
Awesome. Well, what besides the reality show, is there anything else you got coming up or that you're working on?
Well, the reality show's the main thing right now, and that I'm doing a lot of different stuff, but I can't talk about the show too much right now till more information's come out about it. But
okay,
having a lot of time, having a lot of fun doing it right now.
Cool, man. Well, do you have any parting words for us before we let you go?
Like I say, if you do get a chance to watch me fight, I'm only fighting a few more fights before I hang it up totally, and you don't want to miss them.
All right, man. Well, thanks a lot for talking with us.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your time.
Hey, no problem. You know how to get a hold of me now, so just anytime.
All right. Thanks, man.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Have a good one.